All right, Lucas, do the intro.
We have an intro. Oh shit.
No, I'm just putting it on the spot for comedic effect.
Hey, look, it's a little dead.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's a different podcast intro.
Sorsky.
Sorry. Uh,
We're gonna get sued by fucking Chris Raygun.
yeah.
Oh my god. But yeah, welcome to episode number 2 of the cast. I forgot what we're called. It doesn't matter. We're autistic, something like that.
Anitism
Yeah,
for sure.
anitism, anime, and autism. If no one could figure that out.
And today we get to talk about or My Cuck Academia.
Yeah, my Cuck Academia. Jesus
Yo,
Christ.
like I almost wait. I always figured, and I wasn't super invested in My Hero in the first place, just because it felt very like vanilla. Like I thought I knew everything that was coming, and it didn't seem like super special. It was good, but like nothing too interesting, or hadn't been like very cliche, I guess. And then I almost wish they had done that because instead they did the complete opposite. Made it garbage.
Yeah, like, so I guess before we get into anything, I should preface this by saying I don't know the entire ending. I just know the things everyone's talking about the ending, and I
I've heard the
have
basic gist, yeah, from what people have said. I'm not caught up,
yeah, and
but
at the time of this filming, I have seen almost every episode.
you care
That's
about.
out.
Well, I guess if you know spoilers,
I
you probably
don't. I
don't.
don't.
But yeah, I'll tell you what I know. So from what I've heard, basically Bakugo dies, Deku loses his powers, and then for 8 years, like he's ghosted by like the rest of the class and everyone he knew, and then like the girl that builds all the like hero aid shit, the Tits McGee builds him
Hmm.
like an Iron Man suit, and he comes
The
back as
hot
Iron
one.
Man. Yeah, the one that he honestly should be going for
The
instead
hot
of
nerd.
Ochako,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
Ochako also like abandons him for 8 years, and
Ain't that
that
just
other
like
girl
women in
spent
high
that
school, huh?
whole time making that suit for him. So who's the right girl? I think it's pretty obvious, but that's
Yeah.
not how. I
The intensely
don't know.
autistic girl who hyperfixates on things. Yeah.
Yeah, but at least she still remembered he existed. They did like Ochako did talk to him until she saw him in Iron Man suit. It's like, oh, you exist.
Yeah, and see what's funny about it is because like also there's also the world famous inventor person who's also known for inventing super suits, the one who got All Might his super suit, and the one who gave Deku his fucking glove, and she didn't even give him a suit. It had to be some random fucking chick that he interacted with like 3 times.
And I think the dumbest part of this that I think not a lot, enough people are talking about is the fact that, like, if Deku can build a suit, like, if it's possible to build a super suit
Hmm.
that mimics the power of One for All, then why couldn't anyone else just do that? What makes the powers like? What's the point of having powers at all if anyone can just make their own All Might suit
Yeah, and
if
if
they have enough funds?
I don't know how caught you up how caught up on the anime you are, but if they can just do the shit like what they're doing to make sure they have like infinite platforms for the area where they're fighting Shigaraki by like what's her nuts just eating cake over and over again and like shitting out stuff. It's like why is there
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure at all? It's like I don't know, like they somehow are able to like have like a non-ending like, and I'm pretty sure like the rabbit chick was like fighting. She loses her like
Mm-hmm.
leg, and they instantly have a prosthetic just in case that like happened. Like they're just like ready to go. Like it's I don't know. It's just like
That make
weird.
no. I think that one makes sense because she's like a very popular hero, and like the way she gets into shit, it makes sense. They might plan for her to lose a leg. It's
Yeah, but
what doesn't make sense to me is like, well, did you watch any of the movies? I
no.
don't
I watched
think
one of the movies, the
I
one
can't remember if the
where
movies were
Bakugo gets like
canon.
one for all. I've seen that one.
Okay, that was a good one. That was the better one, but the other one where he meets Melissa, like the blonde girl
Oh yeah, no, I did
at
watch that
the
one too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the one with that one, so she builds him that gauntlet
Yeah.
where he can use One for All at 100%, but it like doesn't hurt him. And it's like I thought that movie was non-canon. I could be wrong, but I'm
The
gonna
other one
assume it's
isn't.
non-canon, and I was like,
The
it's
other one's
fine
non-canon
because
because Bakugo doesn't actually get one for all, because that would be busted.
oh yeah, the other movie is confirmed non-canon, so I assume Melissa's one is too,
I
but
think
I
so
don't know
because
for
he
sure.
has the gauntlet in the show, right? So he has to be.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
So it is canon.
yeah. I think he
Okay,
still
so
has it like this season,
if
something
it's
like that.
canon that people can just make that shit, then like, what's the point? You know?
Yeah, I don't know.
Like,
I don't know a lot of shit about this show, but that's again like we're kind of getting to like the lesser important
well,
things.
it
But
would
yeah, I agree though.
it would be like if in Black Clover, like if Asta's blades. What if just an enemy came out of nowhere and was like, "Aha! I made my own black blade. Now I can also negate magic." You know, like how stupid would that be? It's like
It's like
basically doing
the
that.
it's like the guy in Iron Man who like made his own Iron Man suit.
Hmm.
Yeah, but they put a stop to that because that would create issues. But yeah, like I don't know. It's just I feel like I am not like a perfect human being, but I feel like if I sat down for 10 minutes, I could write a better ending to this story. Like maybe I couldn't write the whole story, maybe not like get all the story beats, but I could definitely end it better than this.
I'm a horrible writer, and I know I can do better.
Like
That was
I'm still upset at how like Death Note ended. Not because L died, like everyone fucking says, but like because I think it's the dumbest shit that the reason they win is because a guy was able to break into a safety deposit box and steal from a bank. It was very like just weird. Like just I don't like the ending. But like again, like this I could have written a fucking better ending than this. I
this almost makes the Attack on Titan ending masterpiece.
see I don't fucking mind the Attack on Titan ending. I think people are
Yeah, I
just
don't. I
butthurt.
think it's overhated.
People
Yeah,
are butthurt because they wanted Aaron to live and fuck Mikasa at the end. They just wanted like a big old fuck scene where like they're like banging. Like that's what they wanted out of the fucking ending, and they didn't get it because they're fucking incels.
yeah.
And
And if the ending just wasn't like, oh, Deku and Ochako don't get together, and maybe like Deku dies or something, like I would have been like cool with that, and people would have been butthurt about it. But
yeah,
no, this is just straight up terrible. This is just
yeah,
bad.
it's like he is like well known as the guy who like he's been mistaken as like All Might's fucking secret love child, and then like also
Hmm.
everyone's like who, like for like 8 years. It's insane.
Hmm.
It's crazy. I don't get it. And then he's like a teacher,
Well,
but
okay. Also,
why?
Deku screams at the top of his lungs on multiple occasions, "Detroit Smash" and stuff like that, and no one seems to comment on that ever. What's no?
Oh, and All for One is
That's always bothered me.
nonstop. All for One is nonstop talking about how he has one for all, and then like he's like
Yeah.
fucking blabbing to anyone who will fucking hear about one for all.
What
And
one? Yeah, when All for One possesses Shigaraki's body, he's like, I, I need All for One, and then like he's looking directly at Deku, and while there's like cameras displaying this on national television, and somehow they get perfect audio quality, but
yeah,
yeah, I don't know.
he's like he's talking to Bakugo. He's beating the shit out of Bakugo. And he's like, you can never stand up for one for all, or yeah. What I always get him fucking mixed up. One for all, yeah. He's like, you're not as good as one for all. I need one for all. Where's Deku, right? And it's like he makes it very
Mhm.
clear that Deku is basically just All Might's quirk, and everything. Although to be fair, like he also like All Might doesn't have fucking Black Flash or not Black Flash,
I will say,
Black Whip and all this kind of shit.
although most of the characters' story arcs are terrible, I think the only one that was done well actually was Bakugo's. I don't kind of like the kid, like the child prodigy growing up to realize he's not that special and is ultimately not good enough.
Well,
Like I
yes
feel like
and no, because I feel like there, because all they did, like so again, I haven't finished yet, but like so far, all he has done is fight a little less a little less selfishly. That's all.
mhm.
That's like, and he didn't say, oh, I see now I need to be a better team player, or oh, I see now I need to be kinder. My anger is holding me back. He didn't say anything, right? He hasn't actually like
Mhm.
cognitively said anything about changing. So like that's I don't feel like that's good enough, personally. But
No, I think it's fine because I feel like too many characters like Bakugo get like some sort of redemption. I like that he kind of dies in his convictions, like he never truly learns his lesson, and
mm,
I'm fine with that. I like I don't know. That may be a personal thing. I'd like to see that more. I feel like too many characters are like Bakugo, and then by the end are like, I'm the best team player.
Hmm.
I feel like he
Like
didn't get Vegeta.
Sasuke.
He didn't get Vegeta.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Going from
Like I
I'm here to kill you
yeah,
all
I'm
to
super fine with the like not expected character arc. But I still like I don't feel like they did it. So first of all, he 99% of the characters have zero payoff. Some of the characters
yeah
have a 5% payoff, and I would say Bakugo maybe has like a 25% payoff, and he's like the
yeah like
closest to like a main character or like like to having anything. Like that's the plurality.
it's not like he doesn't grow at all, but for the most part he dies in his conviction of wanting to try to be the best by himself
Yeah,
without help.
maybe Todoroki is the exception. I'm still kind of confused. They didn't really explain exactly what the move he used on Dabi is. He's like it uses heat and it uses cold, and then he's defeated, and they don't really explain anything. And I don't. They kind of made it seem like this is a very this move is indicative of being in like loving my brother in some way. They don't really explain the way, and then he dies. Well, not dies, but he gets defeated, and he's like,
Mhm.
Rest easy, Dobby." And then like he's like, "I'm gonna leave it all up to my friends," and I'm like, I'm still not really I'm still kind of confused with what they did. Like, was that their way of
Yeah,
being like, and now like everything's fine in the Todoroki family, and that's like the bow? Because that's not a bow. That's like, it's still in the
his,
box with the lid open.
his dad still abused all him and all his siblings, and still
Yeah,
can't really atone for it.
and
There's
it
still kind of
yeah,
that.
if it feels like it's like, well, he realizes it was bad and he's really really like fucked up about it, and so like that's good enough, and we're gonna end it there. And like it just feels like this show is not done being written, and he just wanted to like wrap it up. It feels like.
Yeah, to be fair, if I was him, I'd probably killed myself after looking at anything of the community online for half a second.
Yeah, I mean, in a
God,
way,
the My Hero fandom is terrible.
see, everyone says that. I don't. I've never experienced My Hero fandom. Like, I don't like go
Really?
in. I don't go online in a way where I end up in the same place as them. So I'm not saying they're not bad, but like I don't like I'm not like scrolling through my usual yaoi fan fiction. I'm like, oh shit, Bakugo and Deku. Like, I don't interact with them. Like, I don't. It doesn't happen. So I don't
Well,
know.
that's fair.
Uh,
I definitely interact with the Dragon Ball fan base
fair.
significantly
Hey,
more.
listen, buddy. That's the
more.
last episode. Hey, let's not cross the
I will never
streams.
not be hung up on that, and I still want to ask Maddie. Again, she only saw the original Dragon Ball, which is the only.
Yeah, which is
Well,
hardly
okay, I don't want to say it's the only part that has redeemable aspects, but like
the most
it's the
redeemable.
only one with somewhat decent storytelling.
Hmm.
The rest of the I will stand I will die on the hill that Dragon Ball Z is terrible storytelling.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't like
it's
it.
entertaining, but it's not well written. Just like My Hero, I would say is
Yeah.
entertaining, but not
I
well written.
I think the first like 3 or 4 seasons were really good. In
Hmm.
well, not like really good, but like a good 8 out of 10, right? Like my favorite whole thing was I loved Mirio, I loved the big three, I loved Overhaul as a villain. I think he was really cool and interesting. I liked his
Hmm.
powers. I liked
Overhaul
how
was a really good villain. I
yeah
sadly boxed him up so quickly.
yeah, and I don't like how he was like they should have locked him up, and he should have came out during the prison break, and then he should have been like, listen, I was evil, but I'm not this evil. I'm not like one for all evil. I'm like I'm trying to get rid of quirks and like be a control freak kind of evil, but like I don't want like
Also,
these people out in the streets, right? Like and so he could have helped in some way. I think it would have been really cool for him to be like, listen, society's kind of collapsing, and like the Yakuza was like about order, and so like I can
mhm,
actually help in this regard, and I don't have to be at odds, but I don't have to have like a redemption arc either. Like I don't have to be like I'm putting away all of my like evilness, right? He could have been like, well, right now
yeah,
there is no society, and that's kind of first, and it could have been really
yeah,
cool.
they simplified him way too much.
Yeah,
Also, Mario losing his powers, I feel like was a big cop out to avoid like trying to write a complex like guy who actually deserved the one for all part of the
yeah,
story because that's totally what he was originally.
they did the Utah kind of thing where it's like, oh, this is a better main character, and he's more likable
Hmm.
and would have gotten better use out of One for All. and it would have just been like all around better. And their way of like dealing with that is just not dealing with it. And
Yeah,
so
just like, oh, he has no powers now.
yeah,
Oh
well,
well.
he gets them back. He gets them back. I don't know, like he's just back with them, and I don't know how. Maybe it gets explained later, but he just came
I
back
think
with them.
something
I
happens
would
with Aerie.
imagine, but like usually
Yeah.
something like this where there'd be a big reveal. He comes through the ground, gives a big uppercut, and then it's like flashes back to him, and it's like a still, well, but like semi-transparent with like him and Aerie, and they're like all happy, and then like cuts back, right, and it like kind of lets you know.
Mhm.
You're I can
Yeah.
assume, but like they didn't tell you anything, and it was just weird. I don't know.
But then it's like the whole thing of that's the guy that really should have one for all, and Deku's just like, I'm not gonna give it to him.
Especially because he is literally the ultimate counter to fucking to Shigaraki.
Mhm.
He's perfect.
Yes,
He cannot get
because he can't
cannot,
be touched.
Yeah, he can't get touched. He's got basically like he doesn't literally have like hyper awareness like Spidey sense, but like he's never gonna fucking get hit anyway. It's not like you can like sneak attack him. He's just that good. Like it's just skill. But like he's like perfect for this. But then like they really were like, oh, we're gonna wait for Deku to come here. It's like, why? On an objective level, like Mirio was already strong, and people already thought he was like able. He's like #1 hero material, and he's here. Like he's on an objective level, he's just a better version. Like he's like the he's the person who they really should be relying on and like backing up. I
It
don't
would
know.
have been a better ending if like Deku conceded and gave Mirio one for all, and then Mirio defeated Shigaraki, and that was the end.
Yeah, like okay, so like
Would
Bakugo's
have been a
fighting
better
him,
story.
he gets fucked up. Deku's fighting him, he gets fucked up. He has to grapple with wanting to be a hero and understanding that Mirio
The
plus
fate
one
of
for
the
all
world
is
is
really
more
really good in
important than him being the
Shigaraki.
#1 hero.
Yeah, he's like, oh, this would be a really good counter pick. I'm just going to, pass it on, and then that way, like, maybe Bakugo gets humbled and decides he doesn't want to be a hero anymore because he gets all fucked up, and then the Deku's like, oh, like, we'll, like, go into business together, and, like, we can, like, be, like, a hero agency, but, like, we just don't have the powers for, like, the bureaucracy, and, like, they have, like, a cool, like, fucking, like, they actually become friends, and they're, like, business partners. It's, like, a whole thing. We got cut back to, like, 10 years later, and they're all having fun, right? Like, we could have done something cool. Like, again, like, I thought of that just now, like, in the last 10 seconds.
Yeah, that automatically would have been better. Dang.
Because
Why don't you write anime?
it's hard. Everyone expects
easy.
that the ending is going to be Deku beats bad guy. Deku becomes #1 hero. Deku is. It cuts to Deku 10 years later. He's like buff like All Might because he just trains or whatever, and then he has one for all, and like that's the most predictable ending. And instead of like making him an unlikable cuck, who like doesn't get interacted with by his friends. He could have done something a lot more interesting, where it's like, oh, okay, I can see this. I'm happy with this. And it's like it defies expectation. But like, he just sucks.
I genuinely believed that that first ending you described was gonna be how it ended, because there was no indication that this would take any sort of left turn.
Yeah, there's no foreshadowing.
Because the story from this point had been following that predictable pattern of the heroes get stronger, but beat bad guy, they saved, Deku gets stronger, and the formula repeated itself all the way until the end.
And they were like, there's so many threads that didn't get explored. Like they had this thing going on with and again I didn't finish it, but it doesn't seem like they're getting anywhere. But like they had this like mystical like, oh, we're all connected through the quirk, but like also. Like, it's more than that, because, like, fucking as Bakugo's dying, he sees, like, the ghost of One for All that, like, shows up to Deku of All Might, like, his, like, silhouette thing, right? Like, he's connected there somehow. Like, it seems like they were supposed to do, like, there's something more, but, like, they never explore it. Deku barely talks to the other people, even though it's, like, a major plot point that's even a thing that exists or happens. Like, All Might doesn't experience that, and then Deku does. He gets all of the quirks. He barely talks to them, though. Like... He talked to the guy who had Black Whip, and like for like 10 minutes.
I just thought of another better ending, because what you brought up makes a good point. Because for all the things they hinted at, it totally could have been that like One for All actually is like the link to like the collective human consciousness, and actually like all people are connected to it.
Yeah,
and
like
so
he could have done something.
All for One got it. He could have like controlled all of human consciousness. So that made it actually like an even more world-ending kind of threat.
Could have. Yeah. I mean, they also like
There were a lot of hints that could have been something.
yeah, and they had this whole like subplot of the quirk singularity that didn't really get explored or like finished at all, where they could have tied that
Yeah,
in.
they
They
brought that up a lot
yeah,
for not exploring it at
especially in
all.
the last season. Like they literally
Hmm.
started talking about it every like 20 minutes. They also didn't do anything with like the heteromorphs besides being like, oh, you're a heteromorph, so like as a distraction, you go lead them for a little bit. They didn't really do anything with it, even though that's kind of
Hmm.
also been hinted at kind of throughout the whole thing. Less and less so at the beginning, but more as you went through, and it's like season 5 and 6 and stuff. Like they're talking
Yeah.
about it a little bit more. Um, like I don't know, like there's just, and then like all of Class 1A, you barely fucking know anybody. Like the first like
Hmm.
3 seasons, they kind of tried to like give everyone a little bit of screen time, and then they stopped. They just stopped giving a fuck. Uh, a tail guy hasn't done anything but hit somebody with a tail and then get cut away from like for 4 seasons. I don't know
Hmm.
anything about him. I know he has like a Japanese dorm room or whatever, or is that him? I don't remember. Like it literally doesn't
I
matter.
don't. To be fair, I don't know what they could have done with
I don't know
him.
either,
Like
but they
he
could have
wrote,
done
I think
something.
he wrote himself into a corner just putting him in that class.
They
Why was the guy with the tail in that class and not anyone
I don't
else
know.
from
That's like
class
a
one B?
that's definitely like a class C kind of like quirk, bro. Like I don't know
Yeah,
how he got to
exactly.
class 1A.
Like he shouldn't have even got much screen time. He should have been like, oh, there's class C in one frame and it's gone.
Yeah.
Like.
Or like that could have been a heteromorph tie-in, right? Like over the last
Mhm.
3 seasons, they could have done like a, like they kind of hint more and more that like heteromorphs are kind of like hard, or like, yeah, like we'd hire you for the agency because like we like your quirk and you're kind of strong, but like heteromorphs don't look good in the advertisements. Like they could have like done all these kind of little things that kind of made these guys embittered. Maybe they have like a moment where they're like, maybe we should fucking join the league because they're trying to remake society to be more equal, right? Because they're all fucking communists, right? So it's like,
Also, like
yeah,
uh, most quirks, like or have some sort of like scientific-ish basis or whatever.
like Bakugo
But
has like actual nitroglycerin. It's not just
you know
like
who
I explode for no reason.
who actually could be the number one hero or like could have beaten
Tokoyami.
Shigaraki with ease? The guy who can touch people and turn them into meatballs. Remember him from like way early?
Who?
I like how he just never comes back. There's a guy when they like go to fight other schools to get their like preliminary license,
Uh huh.
and his court
Oh
like he beats
yeah,
Bakugo because he
I
touches
fucking
him.
forgot.
All he has to do is touch someone, and he can turn them into a meatball,
And and
and like
and there's probably tons of
incapacitate
quirks
them
like that.
completely.
There's probably tons of
Yeah,
quirks
I'm
like
saying
that.
like if there's one guy that can do something like that,
It
then
probably
surely there's
it would
someone.
bypass like regeneration and like all this kind of shit, right? Like it has nothing to
Mhm.
do with impact, so like impact nullification doesn't do anything, like right? Like it's just like how the quirk works.
Mhm.
It's yeah. I mean that would be fucking huge, and then he never shows up again. Tornado Kid never shows up again, even though he
Mhm.
can literally fight from a distance. Like
Mhm.
he doesn't have to get close to getting touched or anything, right?
And
Like
he's pretty strong.
yeah,
Yeah.
fuck it, I guess. Like we're just not gonna fucking give a shit. We're not gonna ever talk about him again.
Mhm.
Yeah, like, and like at the very least, explore Class 1A a little bit more, right? Like there's like
Mhm.
the guy who can like grow his like infinite limbs and like have ears and eyes and every shit everywhere. Like I don't know,
Why
like
is he in class one A?
I mean
Also, like,
that's a
I'm sorry,
really good quirk, but like not for combat, right? Like
yeah,
anything
it's a good
else,
reconnaissance quirk.
recovery,
It's like a
reconnaissance,
scouting recovery. Yeah,
spies, like shit, like anything. But
but
like
not combat, which is like I feel like class 1A is mostly like they're put in so many combat scenarios. You think they
when
do
you're in
more
class
combat
1A, you're
experiences.
like on the short list to become number one hero. Like you're at UA high school, the high school,
Yeah.
in the
So you're telling
class.
me the guy with just a tail was better than any other candidate to be on the road to number one.
Yeah,
Like he was a serious contender to be number one.
yeah.
Like the guy with the tail
Apparently,
could be number one if we
I
put
don't
him
know,
in his
dude.
class.
The fucking guy from that one other class where he like can turn into a
The guy
shadow
with
and like
grapes
yeah
on his
that fuck
head
yeah the fucking pervert
has the potential to replace All Might in the future.
cringe.
This is who we're banking the future on.
It's so dumb, but like they could have
Yeah.
at least explored their character. Like they had 7 seasons. Like I know we're like talking about like oh, but like they're not important
Mhm.
characters. Like they could have easily been if with like 5 seconds thought you could have tied it into anything. You
Well,
have
they
seven
even showed
seasons
like
to do it. 10 years.
that quirks can evolve with like what's his name guy that can get harder and
Yeah. Tetsu
uh
Tetsu Tetsu and Kaminari.
Kaminari, yeah, Kaminari, and then what's her name, Blood Girl. I don't know why I keep
Um,
forgetting her name.
the
Poka?
huh?
Po- I believe it starts with a T.
The
What's her
Blood
name?
Girl.
Yeah, Blood Girl.
Fuck. I don't remember the. But yeah, I know who you're talking
But
about.
like, she evolves, so now like the person she doesn't just copy their appearance; she can copy their quirk too.
Hmm.
Like she evolves that in a panic situation. So like with the ability for people's quirks to change, why did we only see that like twice?
I don't know.
It's not like
Speaking
there was no one else in any stressful situations.
speaking of
Like no one else
Twice,
had a chance.
Twice had a whole fucking character arc, and he died. Like he's a fucking
Mm-hmm.
dead man, and he fucking overcame like past trauma, and they actually gave him a fucking arc where he at least like got over it, and then because he got over it, he got to help his friends out in a situation where if he didn't, they'd lose. Right? They could have done that
Mm-hmm.
for the main cast.
Also, it was very like contrived to have him
Yeah.
he die there because there were so many ways he could have just not died.
Yeah, especially with the quirk. Like that quirk. I mean,
Well,
he
plus
doesn't
with
even
the
have to
quirk,
be
like
there, right?
make
Like he can just make
infinite
a
copies
guy.
of himself. Yeah, like he was kind of OP. I see why they had to kill him, but
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. But I don't know.
maybe just don't write him as OP in the
I
first
mean,
place. I
everyone's
don't know.
OP, right? Shigaraki's OP. Fucking All for One's OP. Fucking Dabi's OP. Like
But
they
yeah,
had all
this is
sorts of
another
OP people.
Shigaraki's quirk evolved
Yeah,
like
it's like
so.
citywide whenever he wants now, as
Mhm.
opposed to like close.
But I guess technically, what's his name? Guy with engine. I don't Ida. Yeah,
Ida.
I don't
Yeah.
even remember the name. This show is
Yeah,
so
his whole
relevant to
story
me
arc is that he had a brother who got fucked up, and he was like, "I'm gonna let
now.
my brother getting fucked up affect me less," and that was his
His
story arc.
whole quirk was super speed, and he wasn't even the top three fastest in his class.
No, Deku can accidentally be faster than him. Like he sneezes and he's fucking faster. It's crazy. Like and then like I had high hopes for like Kaminari. I like Kaminari. Um,
Yeah, because he could have been, especially with him evolving his quirk, he could have done some cool shit.
yeah.
Especially
Um,
with the scene with him and Fat Gum was
no, actually,
awesome.
Kaminari's the fucking electric guy.
Oh, sorry, I was thinking of
I,
God, what's
I
his
said the
name?
wrong person, but yeah, I know. I knew who you were talking about before, and then I said the wrong person, but now I know who I'm talking about. I'm saying the right person, but yeah.
But I agree, Kaminari had a lot of potential that was just
Yeah, they
lost.
literally made him a battery, which is literally like the joke they made. They're like, "Oh, Kaminari, you're too stupid. You're gonna end up just being a battery," and then they literally made him a battery. His whole story arc is that like he no longer is stupid when he uses his quirk. That's how he
Hmm.
evolved. It's like he didn't get better at using it. He
Hmm.
didn't get like more control. He can't like call down lightning. It's nothing.
They tried. They gave him the discs. Remember that
Yeah, and then
that short.
he was not fighting like for the
And
thing.
then he just didn't use. He didn't use them again. He used them once, and then he was like, "Well, those worked. That's awesome." And
Bro,
then never did it again.
Assassination Classroom explored each
Hmm.
and every fucking person in that class.
They were normal people that lived normal lives, and they still had more interesting arcs. Yes, I agree.
100%. It's fucking
Karma
ridiculous. You could have easily
is a
done that.
more Karma
Dude, I
is
love
a
Karma.
more interesting and deep character with more story arcs than the guy who sweats napalm and can explode it on command.
A
How
hundred percent.
crazy is that?
A
How
hundred
crazy
percent.
is that? That a normal kid.
That kid made teachers quit and scarred them for life. And he had a
Bruh.
fucking redeeming character arc. One that didn't seem very contrived either. Like it was very satisfying. I just can't stand this
I just
show.
don't see
Could have
how.
I
I
could
know.
literally you give me an hour, I could write out good story arcs for these people
Mhm.
that fit into the story beats that already exist. I guarantee you. I guarantee it.
I know My Hero is really popular because a lot of normie anime watchers watch it,
Hmm.
but like I don't see how anyone that's not a normie who watches like Assassination Classroom or anything else can watch that and then watch My Hero and be like, yeah, this is good content.
Assassination Classroom is a better show.
Absolutely, I don't think anyone who has a functioning brain would disagree.
Yeah. I j- I see, like, people give My Hero shit too. Like, I actually like My Hero more than I like fucking Dragon Ball, but like it has plenty of things wrong with it, but like it's all of the things like people aren't talking about. It's just like I don't know. It's just like it's not.
Also,
Yeah, go ahead.
oh, sorry, go ahead. Oh, if if we have time one day, and if you feel like it, we should watch the Dragon Ball Broly movie. And if you haven't seen it,
I
I don't
haven't.
know. You have okay, because I think that's worth a watch to get you like not just an idea of Dragon Ball, but it's also just like I think a good movie.
Okay,
I think
I'm
it
down.
shows the best parts of Dragon Ball the best. So because there's not a real like you don't need to know any of the story.
Hmm.
It's very self-contained mostly.
Yeah.
So
Okay. Yeah. We can do that.
I just think it's really well animated because they stole all the One Piece animators
Nice.
to make it.
Base.
And the One Piece notably, so if we ever get to Dressrosa watching One Pieces at the rate we are, if we ever get there, you'll notice like suddenly the next episode is like, hey, this looks noticeably worse. That's because like all the inters were doing One Piece
Rip.
while they made that movie.
Dude, I still need to watch all of the movies for Naruto. I still haven't watched any of them.
I haven't watched any Naruto movies either.
Apparently they're
I
good
know.
too. I don't know. There's
Well,
something about watching
that
movies.
scene with Lee and Mike guy beating up Naruto is from a movie, isn't it? And that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Like that shows. Like I feel like in the whole main show they don't show the eight gates like enough or well enough because
Well, because it's supposed
seeing
to
them
kill
move
you.
like
So once
that.
they show it, I feel like it's harder to like, because then you have to kill off.
No, well
Unless
they
you're
use like gate
Jesus.
five together.
That's
You
true.
know. Anyway, I've just seen that fight scene a couple
So
times and I'm like,
sorry,
man, that's
you say they don't use the 8 gates enough, not the eighth gate enough.
yeah the just the technique,
Okay.
not the eighth gate
You said
particularly.
the eighth
Yeah.
gate. I think you meant the 8 gates.
Yeah,
Just in
I
general.
meant yeah, that's what I
Okay.
meant.
Okay. Gotcha.
You know what I mean.
Yeah. No. Like that would be cool. I again.
Mhm.
Sakura should have learned it so that she could do that like infinitely,
Yeah, that's
like
another
all sorts
like
of shit.
that's her whole thing was her chakra reserves. She has a lot
Sakura
of
should have
chakra.
ended up with Rock Lee, because
Hmm.
he actually cared about her. Sasuke should have just been alone because he's alone anyway. He got married to her, instantly had a kid, instantly dipped, and then never interacts with her ever again. They could have just made him single. like it,
As a kid who looks like oddly identical to another girl he had no relation to.
yes. Uh, yeah, I don't know.
Well,
It's dumb.
they
Anyway,
they say that, but it's a whole. I hate Boruto
they
so
had
much.
to come
I,
out with an episode and tell you outright that it's not Karin's kid to make sure people didn't fucking talk about it. That's the only reason. But
yeah, pretty
anyway,
much.
we're getting a little off topic because like now we're talking about Naruto. But anyway, um, yeah, My Hero Academia kind of sucks. It wasn't nearly as bad for like the first 6 seasons as people said, and now everyone's kind of right about how bad it is. But they're not talking about the correct reasons why it's bad. You could easily have talked more
Well,
about these kids. There's so
well,
many
I think
more story beats that they just kind of left hanging, and it pisses me off.
most people with a functioning brain like saw the writing on the wall with how mid My Hero was going to be, regardless of if it
Mid
had a
Hero
twist ending
Academia.
like that or not. Yeah, Mid Hero Academia. It's just, it was just never. It was entertaining, but never primed to be anything great. And again, so it's a good. If I met someone who had never watched anime and they like wanted to start, I would still maybe recommend it just because it's really easily digestible. I think to someone who's never seen anime, but that's like all it's good for. Like,
Yeah, I would say like if you already like superheroes, like go for it. But like if you don't care one way or another, I just recommend something
it's like, hey,
like Death Note.
I like Marvel, but I've never watched an anime, and I kind of want to start. Where should I? It's like, oh yeah, watch My Hero. It's
Yeah.
Marvel-ish.
Yeah, if they're like a Marvel nerd, like you got your girlfriend who's like, I like Thanos. I love watching I love Star Lord. And then
But you know
like,
what's even better show? Arcane, and I'm very excited for
oh,
season
you
two.
haven't watched the entirety of it yet?
No, I have. I said I'm excited for season two.
No, I'm saying that you haven't seen all of season 2.
Wait, is it out? No, there's no way it's
No,
out
the
yet. I
entirety of
thought
it leaked.
Oh
There's a
no, I
massive
didn't know it
leak.
leaked.
Yeah, there's a
I did
massive leak
not
at
know.
Netflix, and a ton of their shows that were not released yet, like, got put out, and
So the
entire
whole thing
episodes.
leaked.
I don't know about the whole thing, but I know entire episodes of it have leaked. I haven't watched any of it, but I was giving you a hard time, like, oh, you haven't watched the show yet, like as if it was out, but like it's only leaked.
Okay, I sort of knew about that.
Yeah, entire
Ah,
episodes. The quality is ass. Uh, but yeah,
I'm gonna. I mean, I'm gonna wait till it comes out
of course, I'm not
prop,
either. I'm not gonna watch it.
proper. But
But yeah, I'm excited for it. I don't think season 1 of Arcane was fine, and
yeah,
I'm gonna watch the second one, but like it was okay. I don't think it should have
I,
been the top
I think it's a
fucking
lot better than My
show
Hero.
the month it came out,
Well,
but
I would
I don't think it's
agree
that
if it
good.
was on anything other than Netflix, but
Oh
I
yeah,
do
Netflix
think it was
sucks.
the best thing on Netflix at the time, for sure.
Yeah, Netflix is just
Because
ass.
Just has garbage. Yeah.
Yeah. God, I remember when Netflix like
Garb-
first came out and like it's like 2009 and you're like watching Netflix. That shit was so good.
Mhm. Back when the old loading bar and you had to you could still get the disc in the mail if you wanted.
Yeah.
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 The good old days.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
So My Hero
My
Academia.
Hero sucks. Yeah. I
So
don't know if I have anything more to say, really.
um, other things. What do you think of like on a scale of 1 to 10? How good are the villains? Would you say?
The villains in My Hero?
Yeah.
Um let's see, who do we have for villains? Start with Shigaraki. I think Shigaraki's decent. He's a B. I would say give him a B tier.
I think
Maybe
Shigaraki is the
maybe
worst
A.
villain in My Hero.
Really?
Yeah. I think he's so uninteresting.
I do think um his motives were a, like I do think he should have been a bit more unhinged than he was, because of his backstory. But I think ultimately it made sense what he was doing
Mm.
and why.
I
And
haven't
I
finished it
think it was
again.
decent.
Again, I haven't finished it, but I think the way I would do this is that the reason they win should be that Shigaraki realizes that while he doesn't like Deku and everything, he is not going to be a pawn and gives them an opening by like struggling with All for One enough for them to get the final blow. If it doesn't end that way, it should. Otherwise, they're just completely
Mhm.
forgetting his character and being like, "Oh, well they already like, like mixed together, so he's just
Well,
gone and then
oh,
it's whatever."
spoiler alert. He does have a little bit of a redemption, but it's like he gets absorbed into All for One's consciousness.
That's
So
just lame. That's just so lame.
yeah,
Cause like that's we know since like day one that's basically what he was trying to do, and then the fact that he does it is like boring.
yeah. Um, he does put up a fight and stuff at the end though, but a little too late kind of deal.
Yeah, cringe. I think
But
what
I think
sorry, go
up
ahead.
until the end, I think his motivations and what he did was decent.
But what was his motivation?
Here,
What was his motivation? What did he? What if he
oh,
won? What did he want Earth to look like? I'm still confused.
he just wanted to be able to do whatever the hell he wanted, and wanted to create it like a society where he could just do whatever the hell he wanted. Basically, he just wanted to break down all of the
Anarchy.
general rules and stuff. He just wanted general anarchy. Yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay, that's great.
he didn't have
None
much
of the League of
empathy.
Villains, none of the League of Villains wanted that.
Yeah, no, everyone. That's the League of Villains as a whole was an F tier, just
So
because none of them were on the same page.
I don't get it at
But
all.
they
Like
still stuck together for no reason. When there were
Dobby,
so many other organizations.
Dobby was in the League of Villains exclusively so he could just fuck with his dad and brother, but he could have just done that on his own, just fine. So I don't know why he fucking helped them at
Yeah.
all. That's wasted so much of his time. I feel like he would want to just go do it. I get that like All for
Yeah.
One found him, but like All for One, like he didn't like threaten him like, oh, you better do this or anything, right? Like he didn't do any of that. So I don't know why
Okay.
the fuck he was there. Toge
I also
wanted to be herself, which is kind of close, but like I still don't think like I feel like oh, I want to be myself, so I'm gonna devote myself to like following orders is like a weird thing to do, especially when you're supposed to also be a crazy person.
yeah.
Twice just wanted like people to like accept him and like him for who he was, right? But like I feel
Hmm.
like, and I get like it wouldn't be this simple, but I feel like easily heroes are like way more accepting in general. Just
Hmm.
in general, like right, like I feel like he goes up to any hero and he'd be treated very nicely, and like unless he was related in the Todoroki family, then he'd get the shit beaten out of him. But like other than that, like everyone's nice. We haven't
Hmm.
met like Stain had this whole arc where like heroes aren't actually helpful and it's like all facade for money, but like we never actually really
Hmm.
see a hero not actually be a hero like the whole show.
Yeah, that
They're all
he
nice.
Stain's whole like stand, and people think like making a big deal out of it, but then you never see any heroes actually be like
Yeah,
greedy or like, not risk their life. You, I
basically.
see zero instances of any of the heroes being like, "Oh, I'm not doing that. I don't get paid enough.
Yeah.
I'm not going there." You,
Fucking
you,
Solid
you
Slab
saw,
or whatever that black guy's name was, like literally had a baby on the way, or like had a baby just born. He fucking like sacrifices himself, and he's like a fucking BT hero. Like
yeah, exactly. Like
I don't get it.
if what Stain said was true, we should see
Something.
like them gather a bunch of people and like, okay, so we're gonna go invade Overhaul. It's like, how much are you paying us for this? Like that much. It's like, oh, not enough. I'm leaving.
Yeah,
You know?
like the fucking what the that one chick from JJK where she's like, unless you like pay me a fee, I'm not fucking helping. Like there wasn't a
Yeah,
single person who did
exactly.
that.
Like if society, it's like uh One Punch Man like has like there's a
Kinda, yeah.
character in One Punch Man who's got upset because the heroes in this universe are like that, and they actually are because they're doing it for like status and money more than actually helping people.
hmm Yeah, I don't know. Just Stain was weird because they even brought him back in like season
Hmm.
6, where he was like, gave Deku a pep talk. I think I'm trying to remember. He was like at the
Hmm.
statue. No, he was talking to All Might, but like he, like at the end of the show, the entire ending is every fucking hero on Earth, despite being hated by all of society, puts that all aside to save them anyway. Like
Hmm.
Stain was a useless character. He didn't fucking do anything.
Yeah.
Because he was just wrong, and at no point did we ever see that he was right about anything. So I don't get it.
Yeah, exactly. He was just crazy. Like
He was just
he
insane.
was
He was
just
just a crazy
crazy.
person. Which
He was
which is
just
like,
a
of course
crazy
he was a
person.
crazy person. He was killing people, but like again, you can
He
do
was crazy
stuff
for
with
no
these
reason.
people. Like you can do stuff with these people. He just killed a bunch of heroes that were like generally good people, like Ida's brother, and
Hmm.
like told everybody like, oh, like everyone's super bad, and then like we never see any of that. And he's just a fucking crazy person. But like, I, I don't get it. Like,
Yeah, so there's like zero payoff to him in anything, but if somehow it spurred like on
yeah,
the League of Villains or whatever,
yeah.
or inspired a bunch of people.
He's like a fucking like he's basically like a BLM guy, like, right? It's like he's like, oh, cops are bad. They don't actually help, and then like meanwhile they're like, oh, Stain, you need any help? Oh wait, shit, you're a
If
villain. It's like,
anything,
what?
all the main thing it just made it a hindrance for Shigaraki because he kept having to tell people like he didn't stand with Stain and that they weren't
Yes,
doing his stuff, and they kept trying
which is
like
weird
join
because they
Stain's
set
crew.
up Toga, the blood chick Toga, and
Hmm.
Dobby join immediately after Stain, and the reason given is because of Stain, but neither of them really had anything to do with Stain or believed anything close to what Stain did.
Yeah,
Um,
that stated there and then never again,
and then never again,
never
yeah,
shown.
and
Yeah.
they then proceed to do nothing like that. And also, well, while Shigaraki's like, oh yeah, we have nothing to do with Stain, they stay. It's like, I don't get it.
Then there's like the lizard guy who's cosplaying Stain and only there for
Yeah,
Stain, and it
and he's
actually
there.
like is sticking to his guns on that,
Yeah,
and he's just there the whole ride. He's ride or
he's
die
there
for
to
them.
get a quirk and to lead the heteromorphs for 5 minutes later. That's like
Hmm.
all he does. And then like they have this whole subplot with like a little, well, I don't want to say subplot, but like they have these little like sprinkles of like the guy who would like get them stuff off the black market. They didn't do anything with either. Like there's a black market,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
that never gets dismantled. It never gets explored.
Well, they
That
had the
guy's presumably
movie.
still out there.
Like the main explanation of that was the non-canon movie with Nine,
Yeah,
because Nine was from like the black market
yeah.
underworld, the
I don't
group.
know.
His
It's
group was
weird.
an underworld group or whatever.
Yeah,
It's just never.
there's just so much in this show that doesn't fucking make any sense. Or it could have easily made sense if you like spent 5 minutes making it make sense. So like again, unexplored plot points. But to go back to what I was talking about earlier, the villains. Again, I think Overhaul's the best villain. I like him. I like his quirk. I like his everything. I like that he was part of the Yakuza. I like that he kind of, it wasn't about the Yakuza because he didn't really care if the Yakuza lived or not, but he was like, I
Hmm.
have a purpose. I'm gonna set out to do it, and it's not about like being innately evil and I want like everyone on Earth to die, or I want to be
Hmm.
like the ruler of everything. He's like, I think philosophically people should not have quirks because it causes problems, and like then we have to have all these heroes to stop the bad people with the quirks, and like everyone's too powerful, like I'm just gonna erase it all, if I remember correctly,
So
is what he was trying to do.
also Yakuza villains, not even like mad scientist villains, but just random Yakuza villains were able to synthesize and a cork ending drug that was able to be put in bullets and shot in people.
Yeah, which
And
doesn't make sense because like okay, so a major plot point is that One for All is a quirk that is passed down like biologically, like you get the DNA of someone and ingest it, right? And so you
hmm
get the quirk. And it's heavily implied it's like the only quirk that works this way. But you can just like
hmm
synthesize from Aries' blood a quirk ending thing that because it's based off her quirk. So like her quirk's
yeah, like
in her
it's
blood also, but like you can also
somehow it's
steal it.
activating her quirk without her,
Yeah, without her, which is
effectively.
like, well then
So why
theoretically
couldn't
you
you
could do
just do
that
that
with
with any
anybody.
quirk? Yeah, exactly. And then All for One is like not special anymore.
Yeah.
So do that, or you could just take from like just take some of All for One's blood, and
Mhm.
then bam, you have like every quirk at your disposal.
Yeah,
You
I
can just
just
inject in yourself.
and he lost like his face, right? Like
Hmm.
so like there's bits of him out there. Like I don't get it. And also, again, they have all of these machines that exist to erase quirks and make it so that they can lock people up, but they never use
Hmm.
any of them in combat. Is there a reason for that? Did they ever explain that? Is it like the machines are too big and so they're not portable? Like that didn't stop JoJo when they fucking had like the UV fucking lights on their fucking army of Nazis. Like I don't know. Like
They can copy Ares' quirk and put it into a bullet, but somehow copying a Razorhead's quirk
yeah,
is like too much to ask for.
I don't know. It's dumb. I don't know. Like there's so many things that don't make sense. They again
Also,
they had the quirk enhancing drug that like
mhm.
while I get like it's not like the
Oh
most
yeah,
stable, but no one's using that in the final battle against the world ending threat.
yeah, that never gets like refined or talked about
At the
again
very least,
after
like I
a
get
little
it's
bit.
probably dangerous and it's probably not very healthy, but like somebody on that team
Well,
should be enhanced.
the world is kind of at stake,
Yeah,
and if that makes the difference
Bunny
towards a
Girl
victory.
like loses a leg to do this, but like
Mhm.
yeah, maybe this fucking like gives her heart disease, but like who gives a shit? Like at a certain point, right?
Yeah, well, heart disease are letting the world end.
Yeah,
Hmm.
like
You
she
know,
was willing
like
to like
if they're
these
unless they're
heroes
not
are
they're
willing.
not actual heroes.
Yeah,
You know, they're not
part
just doing it for money.
the part of the show is that these heroes are willing to die to save people, but they also can't use these performance enhancing drugs because they're presumably unsafe.
Hmm.
Again, like technically no one says that, but I would have to imagine if you're gonna come up with a reason why they're not using them, it's like, well, they're unsafe. But it's like, fucking, this whole situation's unsafe. Like everything's about this is unsafe.
Yeah, for real. The
I don't
only
get
person
it.
I could understand maybe not using it is maybe Deku, because having like
He has like eight
one
quirks.
for
That
all
would
go
probably kill him.
wild would, yeah, go having one for all go wild might literally kill him because
Yeah, or everyone
break him
else.
apart. And yeah, exactly. But like literally anyone else, why not?
I don't know.
Why not?
I don't get it, dude. So much of this doesn't make
And
sense.
like and they say it is like dangerous, has negative effects, but we never see any
No.
negative effects directly from it.
Hmm.
Like I guess the guys that did use it, like they got defeated,
Yeah.
but it's not because they used the drug. It's not like any consequence from that. They just powered through their power up. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of a
There's
good
so
character
many
arc in this
holes.
show.
There's so many holes in this show. It's like laughable how anyone enjoys it. Mushroom Girl, also another plot hole.
What? What do you mean?
Just cover just like have her fly above wherever Shigaraki is and just douse the whole area in spores and have him like get completely overgrown with fungus. What's he gonna do about that? I don't know.
Yeah, like I
He
mean,
almost kills.
Eraser being able
What's
to
his
erase his
name?
quirk from afar is pretty good. But I guarantee you, some person on Earth has a quirk that'd be really, really good versus Shigaraki, even if they're untrained, even if they have him at a distance, kind of like how they got like that whole
Well, it's
station.
just so counterable to him that it just would work. Just that it exists is good enough.
Hmm.
Yeah. Well, like I want to say with Mushroom Girl though, like she almost, but which by the way, she should have been like gotten in trouble for that. 'Cause she won by almost killing, what's his name, Dark Bird guy. But she was growing mushrooms in his lungs to the point where he was suffocating.
Rip.
If they didn't tell her to stop, he would have died. But like, does Shigaraki not have to breathe? I guess like
I
he
don't know,
can't do
dude.
that.
There's a lot of shit that doesn't make sense. I mean, they had like a reality working warping quirk in fucking Stars and Stripes that
Oh
didn't
yeah,
fucking work.
fucking stars and stars and stripes exists.
Surely, surely they could have figured out a way to make that work, right? Like,
Why? Why? Okay, if that quirk exists somewhere out there, there's someone with the quirk comedian,
yeah, yeah,
or
yeah.
something
Fucking what's his
of
nuts?
that nature.
Yeah,
Like you can't tell me that doesn't exist along with Star and Stripe. Also, Star and Stripe, the quirk the most USA of all quirks, is not part of All for One. What?
yeah.
you know,
She
the
could have
very
been a good
USA.
candidate to give one for all for it too. That'd be pretty
Oh
good.
yeah, that too. Deku could have just been like, "Here, you take All for One," and now like you have a super amped reality warping quirk.
Yeah, and then plus her quirk becomes part of one for all, right?
Mhm.
So they don't lose it when she dies,
Exactly.
which is like a major bad thing. Like also, that's another thing. I need to fucking talk about this. I don't. We don't have to go off on this before, but fuck one for all. Why the fuck?
Mhm.
Why is it okay? So the quirks go like this. Danger Sense. Okay, that's good. Black Whip. Okay, that's pretty good. Um, Smoke Screen. Okay, that's useful. That's kind of cool and unique. And then 5 quirks that make you fast or hit strong.
Yeah.
That's
Mhm.
that's so boring. They could have made it like 5 interesting, fun I'm gonna shoot mini Supermans from my hands. Like it could have been cool. But like it's like the other 5, or like again, I'm not a fucking expert, so I don't remember how many there are. But like all the other ones are like, uh, store up strength, store up momentum, make you go fast, hit strong, and then like that's so boring. That's so lame.
Mhm.
They
Yeah,
they had
they
all
really could have.
story to come up with fucking cool quirks to add for him to unlock, but it's so lazy.
The fact is,
It
unlocking
bothers the
quirks,
fuck out
and
of me.
again, I like the idea of like it being connected to like collective human consciousness or whatever.
Yeah,
Like maybe he could just have had any, eventually could have just had any quirk that he wanted at any point.
yeah, like
Like
fucking Yuta,
something like that.
fucking
And you
Yuta.
can't tell me that's too broken because fucking Star and
Yeah,
Stripe
Star and
exists.
Stripes exists.
Yeah. Like his limit could be he can only use one at a time. And there you go. Now it's pretty much balanced compared to Star and Stripe. You can only use one quirk at a time, but you can use any quirk you
Dude,
can think of.
they should have
But
instantly.
that's exactly like All for One though.
Mhm.
Then it just becomes All
Dude,
for One.
he was struggling versus Star and Stripes. Imagine if Star and Stripe, or like, fuck, what's her name? So I don't keep calling her Quark. Um, Star. Her name is Star,
Mhm.
right? It's at least certain
I
Star.
think I can't remember her name.
So
Star.
imagine if she also had the quirk that All for One is really afraid of, on top of the quirk that he said was like the only one that could really delay him besides All for One. And remember, she just had both. Imagine if she just could just do
Mhm.
all that. Like again, world-ending threat. He ends up
Oh.
with no powers anyway.
Mhm.
Like if this was the plan, like surely
Yeah, if
somebody
he's
just
gonna
gets
end up with no powers anyway, why
also
couldn't it just been, oh, I give Star and Stripe All for One, and yeah, problem solved.
yeah.
Won't say it.
Also, why is Star only backed up by like 8 jets? Like no other heroes.
Yeah, no
Nothing.
one jumps in.
I
Like,
get she did it like out off of orders, but like she could have been like, "Hey, I'm here in Japan,
well,
like without
okay,
orders. Can I
she
get
did it
some
off.
heroes?"
She did it off orders, but one, no other USA hero decided to come off orders. Two,
She
no
didn't
one
know
in
any who
Japan.
would agree with her.
No
Like,
one, no one in Japan nearby who was a hero said, "Oh, look, she's fighting. Let me go help her." You
yeah,
know.
I just it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's so dumb.
Oh, I guess it's just no one noticed that Star and Stripe and Shigaraki were fighting. I'm sure that made no noise at all.
Yep.
Yeah,
I just
yeah, the show is
there's
just so
so
dumb.
much potential because it would be so easy to make these interesting plot points with fun character arcs and like all this kind of shit and like gotten like really deep and philosophical where like they could have had like oh Dobby comes to realize that like blood's thicker than water and like no matter what like as long as everyone's like at least
Also,
willing to let bygones be bygones we could like start to build up again but no he just gets knocked out. That's the end of that. He's
also,
knocked out now.
I feel like so Mirio's quirk exists, right, where he
Yeah,
can become completely intangible.
intangible.
Why couldn't someone with the opposite quirk, which is basically Gojo's Infinity, why couldn't someone like that exist?
Or like
Shigaraki.
the one chick who taught Toto where like her whole thing's gravity. Like just fucking like
Mm-hmm.
make fucking Shigaraki like stuck to the floor and then someone like jump from above and
Yeah,
like
no
punch
one
him
with a
off.
Well, Ochako like could
Like
have like
technically we
evolved her
have the
grab.
black hole chick. Why didn't the black hole chick just kill him?
Yeah, someone who can make a black hole just be like, and he's gone. You
Use
know.
somebody like Ida who's fast or like, you know, fucking Deku who's faster.
Hmm.
Uh transport her like on top of him and then she just goes hog wild.
Yeah,
What's he
basically.
supposed to do? Touch the black hole and delete the black hole? That's not how black holes work.
Yeah, that. Why was that hero? Is it Astronaut 13 or something like that?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
like so underutilized. Their body is just a black hole.
Yeah, rescue hero, by the way. Why?
Hmm.
Why? World-ending threat.
Well, even if they had to sacrifice their life to do that, surely they
Amen.
would.
Yeah, like again, like you're a hero. Like you've all these heroes have shown nothing but
We have
like
not seen
selflessness.
one pro hero act unprofessionally or just for money, so we have
Well,
no reason to believe.
besides big old number one, Mr. Fire Guy there, it was a little,
Well,
it was
yeah,
little, you know. But other than that, like we're all good.
yeah. Well, okay, we've never seen one like back down from a fight or willingness to throw their life away.
Yeah,
Because even if they're
cowardly.
doing it for like glory, they could still be like dying to save the world is a pretty good way to like die for glory, you know.
Yeah.
Good way. I don't know.
This show sucks. I mean,
Or
it's not even
fucking
that bad, but it's
what's
just
his name?
so
Eraserhead and Mike's friend, the warp guy.
yeah,
Like
he
warped
dies
Rocky
apparently. I heard he dies. Why?
Yeah,
He's like fucking trapped up somewhere. Like, why did he die? Why didn't they use
and
like bring him
well,
back?
why couldn't he just? They couldn't have him just like warp Shigaraki into space or something.
Yeah,
Problem solved.
or
Or
like
into the sun.
like I guarantee you. Again, I haven't read it, but I guarantee you he doesn't have a fucking good ending either. Like they could have at least given somebody a good ending, right? You don't have to give everyone a good
Mhm.
ending. You could have like this fun like not everyone is everything's hunky dory all the time, but like give somebody like a good thing that happened. Deku's fucked up. All of his friends are I guess are like at least alive and practicing, but nothing particularly fun happens. He doesn't get the girl. Eraserhead, I guarantee, doesn't get his friend back. Bakugo, I guarantee, isn't a better person. Like, have a good thing happen somewhere.
It does. It doesn't have to be a good ending. It just has to make sense.
Yeah,
Like, and none of this, I feel, really makes
good
sense.
things happen some of the time. So I get like it's the George R. R. Martin shit where he's like, oh shit, everyone guessed the ending. I gotta make it bad but unguessable. It's like you made it
Yeah, that
unguessable
was
by making it
that was
bad.
perfect. Yeah. Also, Akame got killed. I don't know if you've seen
I
that,
haven't. No.
but I guess tiny spoiler. There is no happy or good endings for any character in that show, but it was still good because it made sense.
Yeah. Yeah, like you can do that, but like I just find it hard to believe in like in this world where everyone's like doing their best and everyone's very kind.
It's hard to
that,
believe
like,
in
nobody had a
a
good
world like
ending.
in a world like My Hero that's been so vanilla milk toast up to this point. You know,
Yeah, suddenly now we're like it's like suddenly now we're like, oh, I'm gonna teach you the lesson that not everything is so optimistic. It's like you've been optimistic the entirety of the show. The entirety of the show has been that as long as you're optimistic and you push through, you'll succeed. And now at the end, we're just gonna be like, what if we just like pegged all of our characters? What if we just like gut punched them all and made them fucking suck? If you're gonna write that kind of story, make it like if you're gonna write Berserk, write Berserk, but you can't like have the entire story. Be about like, oh, work hard, train hard, and care for your friends, and everything will work out, and then not have things work out. Like that's not the story you wrote. That's a different story.
Yeah,
Now everyone's suck. Now everyone's like angry because you suck.
I think you can. It just like it has to be written well or in a way that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
It just doesn't feel like this makes sense.
No,
Just it feels wrong.
I feel wrong. I feel wrong having watched it.
You know what had a great ending though?
What?
JoJo's Part 5. I feel like that was a good way to end things.
I wish we got to see more of him as the
Yes,
mob
I'd love to
boss.
see Mob Boss
I
Jordan.
mean, even if it was like 13 minutes, half an episode. Like, show me what he's doing. Like, even if like oh prologue, and then Giorno cleaned up the city. Here are some kids playing basketball without drugs. Like something.
Yeah,
It's him on the
something.
throne, and that's it. And it's like, where even is he? Like, we don't even know where he really is. I mean, we could probably guess, but like, like did he like replace everyone in the mafia? Did he like get his own people? Is he fine with the other people? Like how's it getting run now? Is there any structural change? Like I don't know. Give me a little something. Is everyone okay with him taking over? Because I mean it was kind of sudden. Is it the same organization or does it just start his own and it's like actually like it's probably better if I just like start my own and then like because like at a certain point
So
he killed like a lot of the important people in there, so it's like is it
I
really even
think
the same?
another thing that really I wanna know more about
I
is
like
like
part four better.
uh I do like Part 4 a lot. It's hard to say which I like better, but I will say um the fact that the mob boss, like not even the mob boss, but like the higher up mob guy
Hmm.
knew about stands and was like trying to hire people that had stands. I want to know like how widespread stands are in that world. Like how much the mob has them and knows about them. Like was it just that guy? Was it the whole organization?
Hmm.
Like how much are stands spreading throughout the world
What
now? And
percentage
like
of
I would
Passione is a stand user?
I would love an
Is it
expansion on
50?
like
Like
Jorno trying
80?
to find out like where stands came from or something.
Yeah, you'd think okay. Like now Giorno is the head of like an a national mob association with like a broken stand filled with stand users. Is he like stopping at Italy? Like why? Is he going to
Well,
expand
it's sort of
into
like
like other
there was
states or countries? I mean.
some order in My Hero because people had grown up with everyone having quirks, and there was like a society structure around it.
Yeah,
But like in the JoJo world,
it's more like
suddenly,
JJK, where
essentially,
people know
suddenly,
sometimes.
yeah, essentially, suddenly people have superpowers, and like I
That
feel like
never
that would
explained it,
drive
by the
society.
way.
Yeah,
At no point are we going to
oh,
figure out
invisible.
why this happened.
Yeah, but I want to know. I would
I want
love
to
a
know too.
story. Yeah, I know he'll never do it, but
No.
which is why I think Hunter x Hunter. God, if you just finish Hunter x Hunter, Hunter x Hunter's better in that aspect. I love JoJo's, but Hunter x Hunter is
Well, we
better
know that
story.
we know that stands come from microbacteria on certain metals that came from outer space, right? We know that.
Yeah, some sort of meteorite. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're like alien in nature,
Yeah.
and that's pretty much it. That's all we know.
Yeah, which like we could know more, but I feel like still we know more about how stands come about than we know how quirks come about.
I don't need to necessarily know more about where stands come from. I just want to see like an anime about suddenly the world is starting to populate with stands as they spread, and like how people deal with it, or
Hmm.
like how Jono, as the mob leader, is starting to see like other gangs of people with stands popping up, and how he's got to like defend his territory from like
Part
essentially
five
like the Yakuza
sequel.
system becomes worldwide. And it's just people with stands, and then they get like claim territory and shit.
I think a part five sequel would be very well received, where it's just a continuation where he's the boss, but like there's a rival gang also filled with stand users, and I think it'd be cooler if because it was very much a like a chasing kind of story in part five. Uh, a lot of it, well, the first half is like defense, and the second half's offense, right? But like it'd be really
Mm-hmm.
cool if they did like a I don't know how to explain it, but like we're trying to like control
Also,
territory and like influence public
mhm,
opinion because like we want the Italian
mhm,
people to approve of Passione still, right? And like maybe there's
mhm.
espionage in that side kind of thing, right? Like I don't know, like that
There's
would be
so
cool.
much you can do with that.
Yeah,
Yeah. But also, one is after watching JoJo, it just even more highlights how boring 90% of My Hero's powers are. They're like
yeah,
just trash.
yeah. Well, you know the writer of My Hero, to be fair, didn't find fun facts on their Snapple caps and then instantly start writing about it.
Yeah, but like you clearly that was the right move because one is more boring than the
That's true.
other.
Fat,
And like clearly
facts.
it
You got
worked.
me there. You
So,
got me there. Thank you, Snapple. Um, but I don't want to talk about JoJo's too much because we could easily do
Mhm.
an entire video on JoJo's, and I don't want
Oh yeah, oh
you know
yeah. Sorry, I don't want to remember. All
like it's
I'm
fine
gonna
to
end
like use
on.
it as an example and stuff, but
All I'm gonna end on is like you can't compare a power system like Golden Experience to Guy with the Tail.
yeah. Well, a big part of My Hero was kind of that like some quirks are shit. Like the guy who could just like take his eyes
Hmm.
out of his sockets in like the
Oh
first
yeah,
episode.
that
Like
totally would have been a thing if they ever expanded on it ever, but they
yeah,
didn't. So I'm not. I'm just gonna ignore that.
there's nothing but loose ends in this show. This is afraid not. He tied it up, but there's still lines everywhere. It's
Mhm.
quite
It's a
literally a
ball of
frayed
yarn,
nut.
and there's ends coming
Nut.
out everywhere. That's
Yeah.
like this doesn't even look like it's one piece. 'Cause there's so many ends.
Did you say One Piece? No, I'm joking. Uh,
Speaking of
One
shows
Piece?
with
No.
like an actually coherent story, it's
Hmm.
just a really long one.
Yeah. People say that One Piece is the best storytelling or like world building, I should say. I have a feeling that I'm gonna watch this and it's gonna be very average. I doubt that like it's gonna because so far it very much feels like they keep adding stuff. Again, I don't want to talk too much about One Piece because this probably should be its own thing after I finish it. But it
Hmm.
very much feels like he tells you a thing, then he's like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this was a thing, and then he like adds it in. It feels very
Hmm.
much like he is on the seat of his pants about this, and
Well,
there's not
you
a coherent
first of
story here
all,
so far.
you have to acknowledge, just like with Iraqi, this is the first and only thing the author has ever written.
And that's
So
fine.
it was a lot of that for the beginning.
Okay.
But I think, and I disagree. Like people say it's the greatest,
Hmm.
and I think it's good. I wouldn't say necessarily greatest,
That's what
but
I'm
it
saying.
is
I
good.
have a
But
feeling
I
it's
think
not actually going to be the greatest world building.
the amazement factor of it is just how much of it there is, and the fact that there's so much that still ties together without so many like loose ends.
Mm.
Like the world feel like my hero's got all these loose ends on like uh where people with shitty quirks, what people with shitty quirks do and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And then like One Piece like has side stories about the guy that takes the wanted posters of the main crew. You know, like it's if you want to know about someone, there's a One Piece story about it.
Yeah.
Like the whole
Lucas, you just
there's
brought up
no
a great
loose
point.
end.
You brought up a good point.
Hmm.
Can I tell you? Let me ask you a question, Lucas.
Hmm.
What does Deku's mom do for a living? We don't even know.
That is
We don't know.
no idea.
We don't know
We don't
anything
know
about his
anything about his
family.
dad either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was about to get there, but like, yeah, like we don't know where his dad is. Still, I thought there would be like, oh, last 2 seasons, like something might come up. No, a fucking idea. He's still off, up on fucking work. Kind of like fucking Jotaro's dad is apparently off on work.
Hmm.
Apparently Deku's dad. I heard somewhere that Deku's dad he has a job that is overseas. Not I don't know overseas, but like far away, and then he comes back
Hmm.
for like 3 months of the year, and then he goes back, like that kind of thing. I think I heard that
Hmm.
somewhere. Still, we didn't get to see him. We don't know anything about
Hmm.
him. We don't know anything about. We know Bakugo and Deku both have parents. That's about what we know about these characters, family wise. Like what? Like anything? Like these characters are so bland because he purposely
Hmm.
chose not to explore them.
Hmm. Well, like in One Piece, we know it, or will eventually know every single detail of
Yeah,
every second of every character's
we know more
backstory.
about Usopp's dad. Even if we never saw him, we'd still know more about Usopp's dad than we know about
We,
Deku's dad.
we know more about. Well, I
I
guess you
am
don't, but
50 episodes in, and I know more about Usopp's dad, even if for some reason he didn't even appear, which he does, than Deku's
hmm.
dad. And Deku has been in the show for 7 seasons, We don't have to know
Hmm.
his life story, but we don't know anything.
Usopp's dad is significantly less. I would say
Yeah,
if Deku's dad was part of the story, he'd be significantly less relevant than Deku's
dude,
dad, but
it is.
just not there.
It's now it's starting to like give me like presidential assassination vibes where it's like you can't be this bad. Like this has to be on purpose. He has to just not care.
Hmm.
You don't accidentally like not explore any of your characters or like follow up on any of these storylines. You do it on purpose. You just like that'd be kind of hard to do. What if I just like made everyone
Also,
forget about it?
mild One Piece spoiler, but I just gotta
Yeah,
tell
go for
you
it.
right now in the current manga, uh, the big fight, the person who is the centerpiece of the big fight right now is Kobe.
Nice.
Just so like
He comes back. Yeah,
Kobe,
I know Kobe's in it
is,
like a lot, decently.
he's not in it a lot, but like he's 1,100
He's
episode later. Kobe
he's
is
in it more
still
than fucking
relevant
Tail
to the
Guy.
story, and he's more important than Tail Guy. Yeah, Kobe is more important than Tail Guy.
And he's on the enemy
And he's
team.
a
He's a fucking he's a marine.
yeah, and he still plays a bigger role in the story than the
Oh my
guy in Deku's class, who's in the runnings to be number one hero.
god.
Also, just a girl being invisible is like, yeah, she could totally replace All Might. I could see that.
I mean, that's a
Yep.
very useful quirk. I have no problem with her being at UA even. Class 1A, no.
No,
No. You have
even yeah.
see it's kind of like actually you won't get this, but like for anyone listening and watching, it's kind of like how like in Yu-Gi-Oh at this point, like if you want a card to actually be played and not just be pack filler, you have to make it so broken that it's insane. Right? It's like your
Hmm.
quirk should be so broken that's insane. Bakugo has the AP of like more than 99% of people. I get him being in class 1A. That's totally fine.
Hmm.
Deku I could even see with his like even when it's breaking his bones, maybe that's more of like a B, class B type thing.
Hmm.
But like, okay, fine, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Super strength is decent. You can never really go wrong with super strength.
Or I
Ida,
feel like
fast. I get it, and he's a legacy. I get it. Fine. Like everyone else,
yeah,
fucking
they
why?
totally could have.
Frog,
So
girl frog,
one, I think, yeah, the
just
frog.
just girl frog. Why? Girl
Yeah,
frog. Why? Anyway, go ahead.
I think one, if any amount of brain, if I was coming up with a superhero school that was like known to be prestigious or whatever, are training the number one heroes of the world,
Hmm.
that I would have the classes divided up by archetype
Yeah,
and how good they are in that archetype. So like Deku,
that's true.
like Kachon or Bakugo in the beginning would be 1A, and like Deku in the beginning would be
Hmm.
1B, and then like Ochako and Frog Girl and stuff would be in totally like separate, like 2A,
Hmm.
2B, you know,
I also
totally separate
think
container.
definitely like if you're gonna be like Ochako, you should. Again, now we're talking about like problems with the world building and less of the characters, but like one A
Hmm.
or sorry UA should they
Hmm.
kind of do this where they have like business course, hero course, yada yada, like
Hmm.
engineering course. They should have a close up fighter for like for the fucking rock guy, the hardening guy, like close up fighter classes.
Hmm.
Not even just classes, like just segregate them completely, where like everyone has similar ish quirks. In that
Hmm.
way, so that they're training with people like them, and they can get pointers and like, oh, I see you're doing that. I can do that because my quirk is somewhat similar, right? Uh,
Well, yeah, I would just be
like
like
a
section
brawler,
one, like class 1A
support.
and 1B.
Well, so they have support, but I mean like
Hmm.
like rescue, right? Like and like
Yeah,
if
I
you're a
was.
hero, you should have some rescue experience. But like if you're going to be like Otaku, where like she can easily get around like a battlefield that's been destroyed and save people from rubble, that kind of thing, right? Like she should not be Bakugo in Bakugo's class. It's a waste of time.
Hmm.
Personally, I feel like that. Anyway.
Oh yeah, oh no, 100%. Like they should have divided it up like class 1A, 1B, and like 1C, or like 1A is all combat oriented, and
Hmm.
1B is like uh more utility oriented, and then 1C is more rescue oriented,
Or
etc.
something like that.
Like
Yeah, it doesn't have to be literally
yeah,
those in that order or what have you. Yeah,
yeah, but
absolutely.
something along those lines, 'cause it doesn't make sense to have someone whose ability is to heal people in the same class as Bakugo
Yeah.
doing the
Why
same
why is
training.
Mineta and Bakugo in the same class?
Hmm.
I don't get it. Bakugo shouldn't be in the same class as Toroki. Toroki is a like mid to long range fighter. He doesn't even need to get close. He can just fire flames and ice from like a super far distance. He should be in like far distance fighters. Why
You
are
know who
they
did this
practicing together?
better, semi unintentionally, like unspokenly?
Who?
Naruto.
True.
Because the school groups, there
Hmm.
was one guy who was the powerhouse, one who was the strange utility, and the other guy who was like the healer
I
or
agree.
support of some kind. And they all filled that role a little differently, and it wasn't like they had to be that way. But like, if this is like a society built around superheroes, why would they not do it that way?
Hmm.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
A small village training a few kids like found that this was the most efficient system, even with slim pickings, relatively speaking. It's a UA high school.
Yeah. And they had Kakashi has the guy with a
Mm-hmm.
Sharingan. Oh, my guy has the fucking Taijutsu kid. Duh. Like
Mm-hmm.
obviously like this kind of shit like that makes sense, make the teachers reflect this kind of shit, right? Vlad
Mm-hmm.
should be with like the mid range guys, like uh Aizawa should be with the support, not like the support gear but like the support,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
kind of people,
exactly.
because he knows how to make sure he doesn't get hit and can position right. Right, so if anyone who needs to
Mm-hmm.
not get hit in position, like if you're a healer, if you're, you can, I say you give buffs for whatever reason. I don't know if there are people who do that, but you know what I mean. Like, then do that. But I don't get it
In a world where you have a bunch of pro hero teachers, you could totally specialize,
easily,
especially if you're the most prestigious school in the
easily,
world.
especially if you can build campuses in like a snap of your fingers, like they fucking do in this show,
They
right?
have the
Like
money to build that giant trading bot
it
at the
has
very
never
beginning
been
of
an
the show.
issue in the entire show needing space, needing buildings, needing anything, right?
Yeah, remember when they were like, "Oh, all the kids like are in danger, so we're just gonna have them live on campus and build
Why?
an entire nice apartment complex
Yeah, why do
overnight
they have dorms?
for all of them."
Why do
Yeah.
they have dorms? Give them all a house. Why the fuck not? Like you.
Well, they said, "Oh, well, all these students, their families are in danger now that they've been in combat, so we're just gonna have them live at school because it's safer." And built those apartment complexes overnight. They're
Yeah,
like, "Okay,
they built an
we're okay
entire
now."
fucking building that could like get like sucked into the ground and like moved on like like a fucking like the Willy Wonka fucking elevator, and it's like
Hmm.
I don't know, dude. Like it's just it's weird. Like why is this
And
not getting
why does
applied to other
stain
things?
exist when we've been shown that money is no object? There's
Yeah,
never been an object. Like, no one has ever complained about how expensive things are,
never.
other than stain.
Everyone in this show's a communist, by the way. Everyone in the show's a fucking communist, except
Yeah.
Momo, who refuses to print money and not be a Federal Reserve based. Um, but other than that, like everyone else is a piece of shit. She's also
Oh
rich,
yeah,
which
for sure.
explains why she's a capitalist based.
Hmm.
Anyway, but yeah, everyone like all these people who are like, I just want to be free and equal. And it's like all the people who want to be free and equal are villains, all of them,
Hmm.
as they should
Hmm.
be. Fucking filthy communists. Anyway, but I just want to point that out.
Hmm. Also, I
All the people
as
who are
like
based on merit are heroes. That's crazy. Isn't that interesting?
it's so like being free and equal
Hmm.
works when people are closer to equal, but in that kind of society with that you could never say the guy with the tail is ever going to be somewhat equal to Star and Stripe,
Yeah,
like there's no world.
unless he goes into construction and he can like slam things down with his tail to like get like like a rebar into place or whatever. Like he has great skills, very applicable. He can find a great place to make lots of money. He's not a hero, and that's okay.
Yeah, he'll never be equal. Yeah,
No,
not being
the
equal
the
in that
guy
sense is
whose
okay.
entire life goal is to make sure everyone is as free and equal as possible by tearing down society literally has a quirk that destroys and does nothing but
Hmm.
destroy. He's fucking Scar from fucking Fullmetal Alchemist. He just destroys. It's
Hmm.
literally perfect. I will say that metaphor spot on.
Hmm.
He doesn't create anything. All he does is destroy everything that people like and keeps people safe. Isn't that crazy?
I do
Anyway,
think Full Metal conveys that message so much better.
I
Like it's
agree.
not
That's
even
very true.
close. It's
I,
not
I
even a contest.
I have my ways I would make Full Metal Alchemist better, but it's a much better show. It's a
Well, yeah, but
9.6,
comparing it to My
7 out
Hero,
of 10.
it's an absolute masterpiece.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
not even compared to My Hero, just in
It's
general.
a
But
very
yeah,
very good show. I highly recommend that one too for new people, but it's still a little bit like out there. So I
I
always say
wouldn't
Death
say
Note
it's.
because it's close to reality. That's all.
I wouldn't say Full Metal is necessarily the best one to start someone out on,
I've heard
but it
people say
is
that.
like
That's why.
I have heard, and I disagree because I
Hmm.
feel like it's not as easily digestible as like My Hero, even
Yeah.
though My Hero is objectively worse.
This is getting
But
slightly
you
off
know,
topic, but this is also not like a topic that we had to have probably do for like a whole 2 hours or an hour. But
Mhm.
I think Death Note is the perfect show because it is very anime in that it has like a power system and like it's different than being just reality, but it's close enough that you don't have to suspend all too much disbelief. Like it's still just like normal humans going around doing stuff,
Mhm.
but and it's serious. So a lot of people have this conception that uh, if it's an animated show, it's just for kids and it's dumb and it's like it's like for babies, right? And so the first episode, fucking somebody dies, or like the second episode, someone almost gets raped in the middle of the street. Like it really like dispels that and be like, oh, we're in for a ride, right? So I really like Death
Mhm.
Note as like a oh, you want to get into anime, or like I'm trying to convince you to watch something, and they finally give in. And
Mhm.
it's like okay, we're gonna watch Death Note. That's all.
I do
And
think
it
Death
hooks you
Note
in the
is one
first
that's like
episode. First episode's such a
that's
hook.
for someone who's never watched an anime. I do think it's relatively easily digestible. Yeah, I would agree. Like, I don't think there's anything so out there with Death Note that someone would be like, I can't relate to
This is
this.
ridiculous, right? Yeah.
What would be? Let's do the opposite. What would be the worst thing to like try to introduce
High
someone?
School DxD, something like that. It's Food Wars, because it's gonna confirm everything that they fear about fucking anime. They're gonna be like, oh, this shit's for fucking
True.
perverts, shit like that.
I also think JoJo's is like too strange for
Yeah,
a lot of
JoJo's is
people
too
to
much. Or like
introduce them.
Bobobo. If you write
Yeah,
sit somebody down who thinks fucking anime is for like nerdy babies and dumb and it's stupid and you gotta watch things like Grey's Anatomy and The Office, then if they watch Bobobo, they're gonna be like, I'm right.
you ever seen I don't I kind of count it as an anime. I know it's not really, but you ever seen Black Dynamite?
No,
You should. If you like Bobobo.
I like Bobobo growing up. I tried watching it again, and like
Okay,
a lot of it is like really absurdist, like too much, like where it's like absurdist after
well,
absurdist joke over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, this is desensitizing at a point.
okay, well, it's a little it's less childish than Bobobo, but it's more adult humor. But Black Dynamite's really funny, and that's not a similar humor to Bobobo. But well, I'll just say this: there's one scene where Black Dynamite defeats a shark, but he can't swim because he's black. So he
Nice.
he learns to swim by pretending to fuck a lady and is humping the water so hard his pelvic thrusts propel him forward. He like
Nice.
knocks out the shark.
Honestly based.
It's just stupid shit like that, but it's so funny.
I need to watch. I think it's Gentama or
Oh, I need. Oh, Gintama's been on my list because apparently
I've
it's
heard it's
really good.
very very funny, and I've seen clips and it's very funny, and so I do need to sit down and watch that because
It's a
I haven't actually watched a comedy in like forever.
it's a good mix of I've heard comedy and seriousness,
Hmm.
and also especially since the author was a fan of One Piece and Naruto when writing it,
Yes,
that there's a lot of
that
references
makes sense.
in it. So
Oh, so speaking of comedy, uh, if you haven't already, I know I fucking told you already, but you gotta watch Eminence in Shadow. That fucking show is so goddamn funny. I literally had to pause and laugh out loud so many times. I love the fuck out of that show.
that is on my to-do
It's
list. I've seen some
so good,
clips, and
and
I'm
the
sold.
action scenes
Yeah.
are phenomenal, and then it's
Hmm.
really funny.
Okay, so like, why is Eminence in Shadow like of so many animes that have like combat
Mhm.
have like the characters use flash step? Why is Eminence in Shadow do it so much better than 90% of them?
Using Flash, what?
Flash step.
What's that?
Uh, hold on, I have a clip I can show you on
I've
Discord.
never heard
Wait,
this. Like,
Flashed up like when they move really fast,
Oh,
like an attack or something, like where they suddenly move very quickly.
you know what
You'll see what I
probably
mean.
is? It's probably because
Mhm,
they so Shadow is like the goat,
mhm,
right? But then they also
mhm.
like hype other people up to be the goat, and then time after time they just show them being absolutely fucking dogged on anyway. And it feels good every single time. And I don't know how they do it, but like, it'll be like somebody's like super hyped up and like super special, and they got like, oh, they won the fucking championship, or oh, they're the fucking most popular person in the school, and like all this kind of shit, and then like they get dogged on, and
Mhm.
he'll like fucking do the whole step in the atomic and everything, and it's fucking great. I don't know, something like that. I would say.
But yeah, here we go. I found the link.
I'm still looking at Pokemon Auto Chess on Discord.
Oh, I'm gonna send. I'm sending it from my phone on
Oh,
to your
okay. I
Discord.
don't know if
So
I'm gonna. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to like make sure I see this in OBS, but I'll just watch it, and the viewers will have to deal with it. I can't be
you don't
bothered.
have to show it on OBS just in case somehow we got a copyright strike for it.
Yeah,
By some
or something like that.
horrible
Yeah.
miracle. Someone saw it and wrote us up. Like, hey, you have someone's whole video. But yeah.
Oh, yeah, I've seen this. I've seen this
But yeah,
exact
that's
video.
fleshed out. That's not like particularly unique to that show. Every
Hmm.
character's done something like that in the show.
Yeah, yeah. This is the scene I was thinking about because I saw this as well. I This person was also very very hyped up, right? It's like every single person that he fights that's like hyped up. It's so fucking good because they're like, wait, I'm not just dogging on this person, and then he dogs on them, and it's great every single time. It never gets
So
old. It's
is it
always
kind of
fucking
like One
great.
Piece for it's the strongest guy in the East Blue
Yeah, so
again.
imagine somebody's like hyped up, and then Shinx comes in, and they're like, "Oh, so you're Shinx," or no, like it's better like with Mihawk, right? It's like it's imagine it's like the fight with Mihawk, but every time,
Hmm.
anytime they fight
Yes.
anybody, all the time, and it's as
I'm
cool
sorry.
every single fucking time. I'm not even kidding. It never gets old. I'm one of those guys who like get like, oh, this is getting old. I do that all the time. Never fucking gets old. This is the
Okay,
fucking
you have
greatest
to
show ever.
admit that scene with Mihawk where he goes, "I'm sorry, I don't have anything smaller," is one of the coldest lines like ever.
No, it was good. It was good. I think
uh,
Shadow fucking dogs on Mihawk. By the way, I guarantee
I
you.
can't wait for you to see more of One Piece. There's so much.
Shadow dogs on Mihawk because it'd be funny. It's kind of like One Piece where or not One Piece. It's kind of like One Punch Man where it's kind of like just because it would be kind of great for the person
Hmm.
to get like their shit rocked. He kind of just does. Not because of like a power system, but just because.
So it's like early One Piece, but more where because like Luffy and Sanji and Zoro do kind of just show up, and the guys they beat are not used to even like having to put up much of a fight.
Yeah.
Because like it's Don Krieg or it's Arlong, like nobody fights back
Hmm.
against them because they're so strong. And here comes a guy who just up and punches them into a wall.
It's
It's like, wait
also
a minute.
it's also good because Shadow has so much fucking confidence. He at no point
Hmm.
has ever lost his confidence in the entirety of the show. He is in complete
Hmm.
control 100% of the time, and you know it. You were never worried that he's like actually met his match or he's like in a tough situation. Bro literally gets like chocked full of like holes and like slashed a bunch, and at no point does he have a fucking iota of a fucking thought that he's gonna lose. It's great.
Hmm.
And that was like a
He's.
very extreme circumstance. Again, I don't want to fucking like ruin the show, but yeah,
I feel like he's like if you mixed Batman and Joker into one character,
he's
that would
as
pretty much be.
confident as Saitama should be. If Saitama wasn't like a jokey kind of
Saitama is like
guy,
just so bored.
yeah. If he
Saitama
was
like
serious, he's like Gojo. Gojo. He's kind of like Gojo, where
he's
he's just like
he's
confident
like
all the time.
Saitama if he showed confidence
Yes,
instead of just being bored.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
He said
100%.
actually no, he's Saitama before he got bored. He's like Saitama when he just got his power.
Yeah,
He's like, yeah, flexing it.
he's
And then
he's basically
he's
just
probably
Gojo.
gonna get bored.
He's basically
Yeah.
Gojo.
Yeah.
He's just
Oh
walking
yeah,
around like,
he's like
nah, I'd win. Hands in his
he's
pockets.
like Gojo and Sukuna in the beginning, where Sukuna comes out, he's like, I'm gonna fucking kill you, and Gojo's like, let me show off in front of my students while
Yeah,
sitting
no,
on him.
literally. Like Sukuna has just reborn, Sukuna, the fucking curse that is so strong his fingers cannot be destroyed, even by Gojo. He just reincarnates basically in front of his eyes. He is
Hmm.
literally called a calamity, a natural
Hmm.
disaster, with legs and 4 arms. And
And he
Gojo's
proves it
like,
later.
Gojo is
Yeah.
smiling, hands in pockets the entire time, not even worried one fucking bit. Which is why he's so
Again,
cool, but so is Shadow.
without Maharaga, 100%. Like Gojo wins. Like it wouldn't have
Shadow
been close.
hears a fucking vampire slayer say a cold ass line, decides he wants to steal the line, and then goes around saving people from vampires, saying that same line over and over again because it makes him feel cool. He's like Gojo and Arthur together.
Oh my god,
It is the funniest
that's a
fucking
description.
shit ever. It's so
Mhm.
good. You have to watch this show.
Oh, I would love to see him and Arthur go at it. That would be insane.
Oh, he'd win. Shadow would win.
I mean,
Arthur, because his
unless
strength is dependent on
okay,
how confident he is, Shadow would never become unconfident, which would, I feel like, falter Arthur's confidence at some point in the fight
that's
enough
true,
to him to get the
but
upper hand, and it only will get
unless
worse.
we're that's true for normal Arthur, but I'm talking post learning about the Wizard King Arthur.
That's true. That's true.
There's no
Dude,
stopping that.
Dude, I will literally still be in the shower and I'll fucking like play out this animation in my head where like he's like fighting against like and fucking lets slip that the Wizard King exists, and he's like, the Wizard King, you say? And his like fucking lightsaber just fucking like shoots out, and it's like, dude, that's the funniest shit. I
Mhm.
just fucking like animate it in my head, and it's so funny. It'll never not be
No, his
funny.
laser sword becomes a wand because he's
Yes,
imagining like typical wizardry, and he's
yeah,
shooting like fireballs like a typical wizard, but they're like super strong.
yes.
They're like
And
supernovas.
then like all of a sudden he's like, "What the fuck? How did he get so strong?" And he's just like, not a doubt in his fucking mind he's gonna be the Wizard King, and he just like steals the fucking line.
Hmm. I'm gonna be the wizard.
Dude, that shit's so funny. Someone has to make that. If somebody out there is listening to this, all three of you, one of them which is
I
me,
don't.
make that happen.
If anyone has lasted this long, God bless you. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
I don't even believe. God, you know,
If somebody out there has experience in animation, animate
Mhm.
dogging on fucking Arthur, and he lets slip that the Wizard King exists, and it like gives fucking Arthur a second wind, and he just like rises, and he's no longer like feet not touching the ground. He's like fucking that one chick from Overwatch, and he's just like floating there, and his like sword turns into a staff, like you said, and he just like revives, and then like, what the fuck, and then he gets like fucking like I'm a firing my laser, blah, and he just like gets evaporated. That should be the animation.
I'm gonna be the Wizard King. Yeah.
He's like, I'm going to be the
Uh,
Wizard King. Dr.
I
Onagonopoulos.
can't wait for more Black Clover. Speaking of which,
Yeah, you get like a chapter a month, right?
yeah,
Get fucked. No,
it's still more than Hunter x Hunter. Ugh.
yeah. Hey, at least your fights have ended. I'm still fucking watching them fight Sukuna for like the third year in a row.
True, true. You need to catch up on Black Clover. Speaking of which,
I know, I know. I did like sit down and find my way back to the episode I was on, but then I didn't actually finish watching the episode.
okay, well that's step one, I guess.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's so many episodes and it's so long.
There's so much anime to watch too. Like right now,
Very true.
there was such a drought for so long, and now recently there's so much good stuff going.
Yeah, I also want to watch like things like Wind. I think it's Windbreaker. I still need to watch Howl's Paradise because that looked cool.
Hell's Paradise was
Um,
good. I want to watch Tokyo Revengers.
I need to watch Mob Psycho 100, which I of course have heard is really good. I still haven't watched that.
Yes, and this got an actual ending and a good one, so you definitely should.
Yeah, yeah, it's actually good from start to finish and not like dog shit. Like fuck My Hero Academia. So
One Punch Man season 3 is coming. I'm excited.
nice, nice. I should really also rewatch that and figure out what the fuck that was about because I watched it, but
Oh,
like
there's another clip. Uh, Uh,
I want to show you the clip of Eminence and Shadow where he's fighting his sister, where he's like feigning to be like weak, and then he like does this like slow motion, like kills her like 8 different ways, and then like goes back to his position, getting dogged on, because he wants to be a background character, and then he like just goes back, and then like she finishes hitting him, and like he gets like knocked back. He's like, "Wow,
mhm.
you're so strong." That was like a really great scene.
Yeah.
I'd find that.
Uh, mm, oh shoot, that's not one. I wanted to find. Uh,
Well, this
what was this
you
short I saw
you could show
of
me the
like?
short, but I think this might be a good
Yeah.
time to like end the episode and just
Oh yeah,
finish out
yeah.
our
We'll go ahead and
thoughts.
end it here.
So, out of 10, what is your final rating on My Hero Academia? What would you say out of 10?
Final rating: 4 out of 10.
4? I'd at least give it like a 5.5. Um, I think it's fine that it exists, and I wouldn't tell people like not to watch it, but I would when I tell them that, I'd be like, just know I was very disappointed in it, and I felt like they could have written
Hmm.
it better. That's like the disclaimer I'd give. I'd recommend other things a lot first, right? Still think
Hmm.
it's kind of probably better than Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball has
Yes.
like two storylines that it does, but it does them over and over again. My Hero has 87 storylines, and it didn't do any of them.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna say Dragon Ball's about on the same level for me because I find Dragon Ball actually more entertaining than My Hero.
Okay, fair enough.
I think My Hero had some more interesting concepts, but than Dragon Ball, I don't think Dragon Ball concepts are necessarily like super out there or interesting. But I think Dragon Ball's fights and like stuff they come up with is more entertaining.
Mm, fair
Like
enough.
basically, the most entertaining fight I got out of My Hero was like Star and Stripe,
Mm,
and there's several entertain. Like again, if we watch the Broly movie, you'll see what I mean. Like fights like that, you just don't have in My Hero. They're
fair.
just really hype.
I still think the best fight is probably the overhaul fight. As much as I don't like Mirio losing his powers or anything, I like Mirio fighting. I like that fight because I think it was really cool to have like all the like the fists coming at him and all that kind of shit.
I
Like how
think
it was,
that's the best one. Yeah, that's been animated so far.
yeah,
I would agree.
I like that one a lot. I do like the
It's a
Star and
close
Stripe
second.
fight, but that's because I like the power.
But Dragon Ball's got like a lot of good fights, and My Hero would be better if its story was good. My Hero would be better, but since My Hero fails in all its story points, it
Fair,
only has this few fight scenes really holding it up.
fair enough. Fair. All right. That was the Anitism podcast episode on My Hero Academia. Shmai Shmiro Shmaka Shmamia.
My Cuck Academy.
Get cucked, Deku. You suck. All right. Bye.
See ya.